Gananam tva ganapatigam havamahe kavim kavinam upamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam brahmanam brahmanaspatana shrunvannotibhis dasadanam Shri Mahaganadhipataye namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om. Dear friends, we have to see this 21st shloka of 9th Adhyaya of the Gita. 21st shloka. The earlier shloka was about Traividyamam Somapah Potapapaha. So the context is, now Gita is telling about different levels of seekers, different levels of people who worship the Supreme Being in a variety of ways, how they worship and what sort of result do they get. So this sort of analysis is going on. Initially it started with that word, Mudhaha. Avajananti mam mudhaha manushim tanumashtritaha. Those foolish people, they do not recognize my real nature. So it started like that. Then subsequently it went on to Mahatmanaha. Those Mahatmas, the people who are realized, they behave in a different way. Then again it said Jnana Yajnana Chapyanye. Some people by this Jnana Yajna, that is by properly knowing my real nature, knowing my Swarupa, they do worship. And then Ekatvena Pruthatvena, that is Uttamadhikari, he worships with that Ekatvena, that is that realizing that Supreme Brahman is the only thing which exists, that is what is Ekatvam. Pruthatvena, that is in different forms, visualizing the same thing in different forms. Bahudha Vishwatomukam, all types of small deities and all these demigods, etc. So all these things that is being described. And then now we are in the context of this Traividyaha. Traividyamam Somapah Putapapaha. Somapaha, those who drink Somarasa, that is after the performance of this yajna, they do drink some Somarasa. So those people, their sins have been washed away. And then they perform yajnas and then they come to the Surendra Loka, and then again after having spent some time they get back. So that is the context we are in. So that is what shloka 20th shloka said. 21st shloka we have to read. Let's read. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam Kshine punye martyalokam vishanti Evam trayi dharma manuprapannaha Gatagatam kamakama labhante. So this is a very oft quoted shloka, because this line, Shine punye martyalokam vishanti, this particular line is very often quoted. Shine punye martyalokam vishanti. That is, you go with a huge money bag to some place like Switzerland or some place, and then after you spend your money, they naturally neck you out. So that is what it is. So, te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam. So, in the earlier shloka we saw that these people who perform yajnas, they go to that Surendra Loka. Surendra Loka is that Indra Loka. Indra and Surendra are one and the same. That Indra Loka, that the heaven, in other words. So, they go there, they spend some time, they have all the heavenly comforts, heavenly bhogas and all that. Tam swargalokam bhuktva, having enjoyed that particular Swargalokam. Swargalokam means all the benefits of that Swargalokam having enjoyed. And what is that nature of Swargalokam? Vishalam. So it is having so many options. Vishala actually means very wide, spacious. Not as though Swargaloka is so spacious and what not. That is, you will get what all desires you want. So what all, a huge range of desires. So here, of course, not to physical extent, that is the range of desires we have to imagine. Vishalam refers to your range of desires, not to the space there. So you desire anything, you will get there. So that is the type of Swargaloka. Swargalokam Vishalam. Then Kshine Punye. Punye Kshine Sati. Once that Punya comes to an end, so that is Sati Saptami. Punye Kshine Sati Martyalokam Vishanti. Vishanti means Pravishanti, Avishanti, Agachanti. So that is they come back. They come back to this Martyalokam. That is the Loka of the mortals. Martya Loka, that is the place of the mortals. So you have gone there, spent there for some time, and then you come back to the place of mortals. That is, again you have to do something, either good or bad, and depending on your punya, either you will go there or go up or go down. So that is the fate of this person. Evam, in this manner, Trayi Dharmam Anuprapannaha. Anuprapannaha means, that is again a very beautiful coinage. Prapannaha means those who follow that. Prapatti, Bhakti, Prapatti. Prapatti means just surrendering at the feet of the Lord. That is Prapatti. Prapatti, in other words, that is following very intently, very devoutly. So here, this Anuprapannaha. Anu means again, after. Anu is an upasarga, which means after. Anuprapannaha. They have done it earlier. And again they are going through. Again they are going through the same drill. So they have committed some foolishness once and they are repeating their foolishness. So that is the meaning. Anuprapannaha. They have done it earlier. They are doing it again. Anuprapannaha. Anugacchati. Anugachanti. Anu. After. So again and again they are doing it. So in that sense they are repeating the same foolishness. So it is in that sense it is such a good coinage. Evam trayi dharmam anuprapannaha. Then gatagatam kama kamaha labhante. Kama kamaha. Kaman kamayanti iti kama kamaha. Those who desire desires, they are the kama kamaha. What do they get? Gata gatam labhante. Gata agata. Gata is going to that heaven. Agata is returning. So coming back. These two things they attain. Labhante means they get. The shloka is very, very simple. Bhashyam also is fairly, there is nothing complicated in the Bhashyam. Let us read it. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam vistirnam kshine punye martyalokam imam vishanti avishanti. Evam hi yathoktena prakarena traidharmyam kevalam vaidikam karma anuprapannaha gatagatam gatam cha agatam cha gatagatam gamana kamakamaha kamayan kamayanta iti kamakamaha labhante gatagatameva natu swatantriyam kvachil labhante ityarthaha. So in one line he has just finished the bhashyam. That is, te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam vistirnam. Vistirnam is quite huge, quite spacious. That is, it refers to the range of your desires and not that physical extent of that swargaloka. Then shine punye, once that punyam is over, martyalokam imam vishanti, they come back. So that is, they again come back to the same Jnana Marana Chakra. That is the basic meaning is, once your punya is there, so long as your punya is there, you are there. And once that punya is over, you are again back to this Jnana Marana Chakra. And in this Jnana Marana Chakra, again, where exactly you fit in, we do not know. Whether you will do some good deeds or bad deeds, again it depends on say what happens here and your interaction here and your free will which operates at this level. So again you may get tempted by something else. So all these risks are there. So that is why coming back to the place where there is a lot of risk. So that is it. Then martyalokam vishanti avishanti. Evam hi yathoktena prakarena. Evam hi, in this manner, yathoktena prakarena. Traidharmyam we have seen. Trai means Veda. Traidharmyam means the dharma which is mentioned in the Vedas. Now we are not referring to the Nivrutti dharma. We are referring to the Pravrutti dharma only. Because here, according to the context, it is not referring to the Nivrutti dharma. Vedas mention the Pravrutti dharma and also the Nivrutti dharma. But we are now confining to Pravrutti dharma. Traidharmyam kevalam vaidikam karma. So Shankaracharya is specifying that it is Vaidikam karma. Anuprapannaha I just explained. They are repeating the same mistake, same foolishness. Then Gata gatam, gatam cha agatam cha, gata gatam, gamana gamanam, gamanam agamanam, gamana gamanam cha, kama kamaha, kaman kamayante, iti kama kamaha. Then labhante gata gatameva, natu swatantriyam kvachil labhante. They do not have any dependence. Independence. They do not have independence, swatantriyam. So this word Swatantriyam is also significant, because in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the status of a jnani is described. A jnani, once he realizes himself that there is no question of going somewhere. When I used the wrong word, once he goes, there is no question of going anywhere. That is a question of realization. Once he attains that self-realization, all these lokas, they appear very, very silly to him. All these lokas, they appear silly to him. And then kamacharo bhavati. There is a meaning, there is a word used, there is an expression used there. Kamacharo bhavati. Kamacharaha is, so all these lokas, they appear so trivial. Anytime he wants, he can just get in and get out. He can just see what is a heaven, what is Indraloka, what is Chandraloka, what is so and so Brahmaloka, what is some other loka, what is some other loka. All these things, they will be in his range. So which means one who has identified himself with that supreme consciousness, all these lokas which are but small segments of the same consciousness, they are all in that only, isn't it? Once you are the supreme Brahman itself, once you have identified with that supreme Brahman, all these lokas, some Swarga loka is some small bubble somewhere, and another loka is some other small bubble some other place. So all these things, they are in his range, in his purview, in his level, in his understanding. So all these things, he knows the limitations of all these things, and it is not as though he will again come and then enjoy the pleasures and whatnot. All these pleasures, they appear trivial to him. That he will be just looking at all these things. He has got kamacharatvam. Kamacharatvam means he can go anywhere, he can see all these things, the triviality of all these things. So in that sense, that word kamachara has been used. So that means this chap who is going to this heaven and then returning, he is actually bound by the visa rules. By the visa rules of that heaven, he is bound. He goes there. And as our commentator Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi points out, that he quotes from some Purana. He says that there are some strong, say, Muslimen who will Vetra Mudgara Panaya. All these Mudgara Panaya, they have some sticks and all these maces. They will push you down. All those Muslimen, like you go to a casino. In every casino, there are also Muslimen. So all the, what are they called? Bouncers. Okay. So those bouncers will push you back. So this heaven also has some bouncers who will push you back. Actually, he has quoted, if you have that Bhashyam, Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi's Bhashyam, he has quoted that. So those bouncers will push you back. So it is from some Purana. So like that, but then here, in the case of a jnani, it doesn't happen. In the case of a jnani, he has not gone anywhere. He has only realized. He has only realized that he is nothing but that supreme consciousness. And all these lokas are just bubbles within that thing. So he has that kamacha, that freedom. Whereas this man, he is bound by the visa rules. He has to come back. He has to necessarily follow these rules. He has to necessarily do some punya again. He has to then only he can go to that Swargaloka and then again come back. So this sort of gatagatam, because he has never desired moksha. He has never desired moksha. He has only desired Swarga. So that is his level. Then in contrast to that, what the next shloka is telling about the Samyak Darshana Nishthaha. Samyak Darshana Nishthaha means those who are in that Samyak Darshana, are the right type of understanding. Those who have got the proper type of understanding, what is it that they are going to attain is being told in the next shloka. Ye punaha nishkamaha Samyak Darshinaha. So on the other hand, Ye punaha means on the other hand, nishkamaha Samyak Darshinaha. It is not as though they are just doing nishkama karma. That is not merely karma yoga. He is also qualifying that Samyak Darshinaha, those who have attained that realization. What will they do? Let us read this shloka. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So this is also a simple shloka. This is again, this line is fairly well quoted. Ananya chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam, etc., etc. It is quoted. So this thing, Ananya, we know this word Ananya Bhakti. That is, Ananya Bhakti is That is, I am not different, I am not anya from that. I am not anyat or different from that. That is called ananya. Na plus anya is ananya. What is that? That is, I am not different from that Supreme Brahman. So, abheda drushti or Advaita drushti. So, the person who is in this Advaita drushti, in fact, Nilakantha Acharya writes the same word, paryupasate. For that word paryupasate, he says, paritaha sakalyena kartsnena advaita drushtya ityarthaha, he says. Advaita drushtya. So he has specifically used that word Advaita drushtya, ananyaha. That is, without any difference, not seeing any difference. So that is what is the meaning of ananyaha. Ananyaha chintayantaha mam. So these people say chintayantaha. It is not as though they are chintayanti. Again, we should not confuse with some bhajana with a sense of duality. So they are in that state of awareness. These people, a samyak darshana, nishtha, the very word nishtha also says that they are stable, they have got stability in that type of understanding. They have got stability in that understanding of oneness. So that is what is called chintanam, not as though chintanam in the sense of duality. Then chintayantaha mam ye janaha paryupasate. Paryupasate, pari plus upasate. Pari means paritaha. That is everywhere. Upasate. They just see me. Then here Anandagiri writes, sarvataha anavacchinnataya pashyanti. That is, they just see me everywhere. That is the Brahmakara vritti. So Brahmatmaika vritti, Brahmatmaika bhavam. So that is, they see Brahman in all things. So that is it. So that is a completely non-dual vision according to Nilakantha. Pari plus upasate, paryupasate. Pari means paritaha, all around. Upasate. Upasate means upaste is singular, upasate is plural. This word upasate looks like singular, it is not singular, it is plural. Upaste is singular. Then tesham, for those people, nitya abhiyuktanam. Nityam abhiyuktaha. Nityam means always. Abhiyukta. Abhiyogaha. Abhiyogaha asti iti abhiyuktaha. Abhiyoga. The meaning of abhiyoga is Atmani chitta samadhanam is abhiyoga. Abhi is an upasarga, we know. Yoga, we know. Yoga means union. Abhi means about. It is always there only. It is just you are sticking to that yoga. So that is what is called abhiyoga. Atmani chitta samadhanam means keeping the mind always in that Atman, resting in Atman or in Atma Vichara. So realizing that you are that Supreme Brahman and you are in that state always. So that is what is called Abhiyoga. And Abhiyukta means one who is in that state is called Abhiyukta. One who is having Abhiyoga is Abhiyukta. It is only Kta Pratyaya. Abhiyoga I explained to you. Abhi plus yoga. Abhi is about. That is, he is always in that frame of mind. He is always in the frame of mind, Aham Brahmasmi frame of mind. That is called Abhiyoga. And that one who is having that Abhiyoga is called Abhiyukta. Tesham Nitya Abhiyuktanam. It is not as though this word Nitya also we can see the meaning of Nitya. For example, when you do puja, what do you do puja? What do you do in a Devatarchana? So initially you go and you say, ring the bell. You say Agamarthantu Devanam, Gamanarthantu Rakshasam. That means you are inviting all the gods. So from nowhere they just come and then they sit for some time in that Pratima where you are worshipping. Then Gamanarthantu Rakshasam, all these evil forces have to run away. All that Sankalpa you say. Then after some time, once you do puja and whatnot, Shodasopachara puja, you do that, and then Yantu Devagana Sarve Puja Madhaya Mat Krutam. You send a Visarjana also. Visarjana means goodbye. You invite them and then also send goodbye. Bye you say to the gods. Yantu Devagana Sarve. Oh Devagana, oh you gods. Yantu Gachantu. You please go away. You please take leave. Not that you are pushing them out. Okay, you can take leave now. Pujam Adaya Matkrutam. So that sloka we recite. Pujam Adaya Matkrutam. Punaragamanaya. Again you have to come to me. So that is what you say. So like that, in puja there is a what is called avahana and visarjana. So in this nitya bhiyukti there is no question of avahana or visarjana. You are always in that frame of mind. It is not as though you are inviting Brahman for a minute and then again you are sending him back. once you are in that state of awareness, that state of awareness is eternally applicable. It is not as it is only when there is a question of duality, then this invitation and sending them back applies, isn't it? It is only in the case of duality, you are inviting a deity and then sending him back. But when you are in that state of awareness, you are eternally in that state. Once you realize that, you are eternally in that state and there is no question of sending him back. So that is what is the meaning of Nitya. Nitya Abhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. This Yogakshemam also Shankaracharya is going to give very beautiful definition. Yoga is getting something which you don't have already. Kshema is retaining it. Yoga is union. Yoga with what? Raja Yogam we say. Suppose you become a king, it is called Raja Yogam. And then we say, oh, he has got a lot of Dhana Yogam. Dhana Yogam means suppose you get some lottery ticket and get 1 crore rupees, say, let us say. Then that is called Dhana Yogam, Lakshmi Yogam, something like that. So you get something which you don't have already. So that is called Yoga. Apraptasya praptihi. Then Kshema is to retain it. So that is the meaning of Yoga Kshema. Vahami aham. Aham Yoga Kshemam Vahami tesham. I take the responsibility of securing what they want and then also retaining it. I take the responsibility of giving them what they want and also retaining them. So that is the meaning of Yoga Kshema. So is the shloka clear?
Yes,
Ananyaha Chintayantaha Mam Ye Janaha Pari Upasate Paryupasate Tesham Nitya Abhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahami Aham. Let us read the Bhashyam. Ananyaha Apruthak Bhutaha Param Devam Narayanam Atmatvena Gatas Santaha
Param Devam Narayanam Atmatvena Gatas Santaha
Chintayantaha Mam Ye Janaha Sanyasinaha
Chintayantaha Mam Ye Janaha Sanyasinaha
Paryupasate. Okay, we will stop here. Okay, Anyatha, Ananyaha Apruthak Bhutaha. Pruthak means separate. Apruthak Bhutaha means those who separate themselves, those who see something as different from me. Pruthak Bhutaha, those who have become separate from me. Apruthak Bhutaha means those who do not consider separate from me. That is Apruthak Bhutaha. Apruthak Bhutaha, then Param Devam Narayanam Atmatvena Gatas Santaha. Param Devam, that supreme the being called Narayana. Narayana, you are not referring to any particular idol here. You are not referring to any particular, say, a personal God here. Personal God is different from Brahman. Personal God means God with some form and then God with some functions and all that. That is what is called a personal God. We have to take the etymological meaning of Narayana. Narayana means Naranam Ayanam. Naranam Ayanam. Ayanam means the path, Gamyam. He is the goal for all the humans. Naranam Ayanam is Narayana. So not that Narayana whom Puranas describe. We should not take the Puranic meaning of Narayana. We have to take the Vedantic meaning of Narayana because we are in Vedanta school, Vedanta class. So Purana meaning of Narayana is that Narayana who is there in that milk ocean, and then there is a huge serpent there, and then this man is sleeping on that coiled serpent, and then serpent hood is actually giving him shade, and then Lakshmi is there pressing his feet and all that scenario which you find in so many films. So that is a different Narayana who is given in the Puranas. We are not talking about that Puranic Narayana. We have to take the philosophical meaning of the Purana. That also is symbolically explained there. So we have to take the symbolism out and then see that what is the Vedanta in that. So Naranam Ayanam, that is Narayana. Narayanam Atmatvena Gataha. Gataha means Praptaha. Atmatvena Praptaha. Having understood as their own self. Atmatvena Praptaha. Having understood that Narayana or the Supreme Being as their own self. So that is the meaning. Atmatvena Gatas Santaha, having attained that particular stage. Chintayantaha Mam Ye Janaha Sanyasinaha. So for this Ye Janaha, Shankaracharya qualifies saying Sanyasinaha. That is those who have renounced, all those people who have totally renounced, and then who are say always in that state of non-dual vision. That is, those who feel, those who realize that they are the Brahman. So that sort of people. Paryupasate. Paryupasate, Shankaracharya has not given next meaning, but otherwise Anandagiri's meaning I read. Paritaha sarvataha anavacchinnataya I read out. That is, Paryupasate means seeing Brahman everywhere. So that is Paryupasate. Tesham paramartha darshinam nityabhiyuktanam satata abhiyoginam yogakshemam yogaha apraptasya prapanam Kshemaha tadrakshanam tadubhayam Vahami prapayami aham. Okay. So here Tesham, who are those Tesham? Tesham means for those people. Who are those people? Paramartha darshinam. Those people are Paramartha darshis. That is, they are the people who have the vision of Paramartha. That is the supreme reality. That is for those people. Nitya abhiyuktanam. So they are always abhiyogis. Abhiyukta is one who is having abhiyoga is abhiyukta. So what is that abhiyoga? Abhiyoga is in their mind, say very stably and very firmly dwelling in that Atman, supreme Atman. So that is called abhiyoga. Their mind firmly dwelling in Atma. Atmani chitta samadhanam is abhiyoga. So for those people, yoga kshemam, yogaha apraptasya prapanam. That is getting something or granting something which is not already there. Apraptasya prapanam. Apraptam means something which is not already there. Prapanam means securing, giving it to him. Then kshemaha tad rakshanam. Praptasya rakshanam. That is, you retain it. So here, what exactly does a sannyasi want? Sannyasi doesn't want any property. Then what is it that sannyasi wants? So sannyasi actually wants some spiritual progress. So he progresses from one stage of say yoga bhumika to another level of yoga bhumika. In Vedanta, they describe different levels of yoga bhumika, isn't it? Bhumika means a stage, a level. Bhumika is a status, a stage or level. So yoga bhumika. From one floor to second floor to third floor, so something like that. Yoga bhumika, the first yoga bhumika is Shubhecha. That is the very desire, this yoga bhumika's names I am readily not recalling. There are 7 yoga bhumikas, Saptavidha yoga bhumika. They are described in Yoga Vasishta and also in many other texts. So in all these yoga bhumikas, from one lower level to higher level, from that level to another higher level, it is something like a ladder, isn't it? So in that ladder, he goes to a particular level. So that is that apraptasya praptihi. So the law, if you are in that frame of mind, we are also referring to a seeker also. It is not as though he is a totally samyak darshana, he is already there on top. That apraptasya prapti means when he desires something, it also means that he is, in the case of a seeker, he reaches a particular stage and the Lord helps him to retain that stage. It is not as though this man will fall down. There is also a need for Bhagavat Krupa, the grace of the God, to be retained in that particular position. You reach a particular stage and then again you become wayward and then you become vagrant and then you fall back. It should not happen. So Kshema is retaining or attaining stability in that stage which you have already attained, and from there move on to a higher stage. That is what is Kshema. Apraptasya praptihi, praptasya rakshanam. Otherwise, these people, sannyasi, what does he want apart from food, etc., food and shelter? Nothing else. Food and shelter also, it is for the body only. Maintenance of the body he wants. That is what we saw in an earlier line in Gita Bhashyam. That is, Dehayatra Matra Cheshtaha. Dehayatra Matra Cheshtaha. That is, their activity is basically confined or limited to the maintenance of the body. Dehayatra. That is just maintenance of the body. So that is it. So, tadubhayam vahami prapayami aham prapayami. I am going to look after them, I am going to secure these two things for them. Then there is a small question. Jnani tu atmaiva mematam.
Jnani tu atmaiva mematam.
Sachamama priyaha. Yasmat tasmat. Te mama atmabhutaha priyascha iti.
Te mama atmabhutaha priyascha iti.
Okay, we have seen these two lines earlier. Jnani atmaiva me matam. We have seen that seventh shloka, seventh adhyaya. Then sacha mama priyaha. I am he and he is me. I am, and that is why he is. I love him. So that is what is the meaning of it. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. Me matam means I consider that Jnani is my own self. So that is what was we saw earlier. Sacha mama priyaha. He is dearest to me. So that is it. Then yasmat tasmat, because of this. Yasmat tasmat means because of this, because it is so. Then te mama atma bhutaha priyascha. These jnaninaha or samyak darshinaha or the real seekers who are in that spiritual path, they are my dearest people. Mama atma bhutaha, that is they are my own self. They are as dear to me as my own self. Then there is a small question here. Nanu anyeshamapi bhaktanam yogakshemam vahatyeva bhagavan. So when you say Lord, Lord is Lord to everybody. It is not as though Lord is showing some favoritism to some people and then showing disfavor to some other people. Anyeshamapi bhaktanam, for all other bhaktas also, all types of bhaktas. It is not as though here we are talking about ananya bhakti. For all other bhaktas also, God is showing favor, isn't it? So what about them? Anyeshvapi bhaktanam yogakshemam vahatyeva bhagavan. Yes, are you not taking care of all those people? What will happen to all those people? That is the question. Satyam evam vahatyeva. Satyam evam. Yes, what you say is true. Evam, satyam evam. Yes, what you say is true. Vahatyeva. Vahatyeva. Yes, he definitely takes care of all other people. But there is a small difference. What is that difference? Kintu ayam visheshaha. What ayam visheshaha means? This is the small difference. This is the difference between other people and this ananya bhaktaha. Ananya bhaktas are as distinguished from anya bhaktaha. That is those who are in the duality mode and those who are in the non-duality mode. Those who are in the non-duality mode, the Lord takes care of everything. And those who are in the duality mode, they are already intelligent fellows. They are asking for all types of favors. They are listing out all prayers and then they are putting a great list of requests before the Lord. So that is what he is saying. Anye ye bhaktaha te swatmartham swayamapi yogakshema vihante. So that is it. Anye ye bhaktaha. Those other bhaktas, all other say devotees, te swatmartham, for their own self, swa atmartham, for their own self, atmartham, swayamapi yogakshemam vihante. Swayamapi, swayam by themselves, they do desire this yogakshemam. Swayamapi, that means they also make some requests. I also give them something more. This api indicates that I just don't give merely what they want. I give something more. So this word api, if you see the tone, swayamapi yogakshemam vihante. They also, for themselves, they do desire some desires, desire some things. But in addition to what they desire, I do give. So that is what this api, this, the tone, if you see the line, that tone indicates. Swayamapi yogakshema vihante ananya darshinastu na atmartham yogakshema vihante. So these people who are in that non-dual vision, ananya darshinaha, na atmartham vihante. Atmartham, for their own self, yogakshemam na ihante. Ihate means desires. Na ihante means they don't desire. Iha is desire. Ihante, na ihante. Then nahite जीविते मरणेव आत्मनः ग्रुधिं कुर्वन्ति केवलमेव भगवच्छरणाः ते. So these people, जीविते मरणेव, whether they live or die, जीविते मरणेव, whether they live or die, आत्मनः ग्रुधिं न कुर्वन्ति. आत्मनः, for their own self, grudhi means greed. This word we have seen in Gita, Ishavasya also. What is that? Ma grudha kasyasvid dhanam grudhi. The root is grudha. Grudha kankshayam. That is the root. Sanskrit root is grudha. English word is greed. Grudha and greed are obviously very cognate words if we can see Monier Williams. So these cognate words means they have an etymological link. So that is the meaning. Grudhi is grudh kankshayam, from that root. Grudhim ma kurvanti means they don't have any greed. They don't how greed here means asking for themselves, asking something for themselves. That is the meaning of greed. Atmanah grudhim na kurvanti kevalam eva bhagavat sharanaste. They are merely devoted to the Lord. They are merely devoted to the Lord with that ananya bhakti, not anya bhakti, with ananya bhakti. Then ato bhagavaneva tesham yogakshemam vahati iti. So the Lord they takes care of their yoga and kshema. In both senses also. In the normal sense also we can take. For all those sannyasinaha, for those realized people, it is the Lord who takes care of their food, shelter, etc., etc. And for the seekers also, if you are a seeker at that level, okay, the Lord helps you to retain a particular, to go to a particular stage and again retain that particular stage. That is yoga kshema, in that spiritual quest also. Then nanu anya api devataha tvameva chet. Tvameva chet tad bhaktascha tvameva bhajante satyam evam. Okay. Then anya api devataha tvameva chet. So you are on one hand saying that you are manifesting as what all devata rupas are there, what all god forms are there, they are all you only. Then anye devataha api tvameva bhajante. When you say that all the god forms are in you or you only, then whatever they are worshipping, even if they are worshipping the other gods, they are only worshipping you. So that is it. Nanu anyapi devataha tvameva chet. If all the gods are you only, then bhaktascha tvameva bhajante. Tad bhaktaha, those devotees, they are actually worshipping you only. Satyam evam. Yes, it is true. He says Satyam evam. So that is why there is a shloka. Let us read this shloka. Ye pyanyate anya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajantyabidhi purvakam. Okay, he says all god forms are in one only, in that one supreme consciousness, what you call supreme Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. What all god forms you can imagine, all god with form or without form, god with functions or without functions, whatever it is, they are all conceivable only in that what is called truth, consciousness and say infinitude, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. So in these three things only, in that purview only, whatever god form, anywhere in the world, you go to Africa, you go to Timbuktu, in whatever form it is, whether you are worshipping in some small demigod form or whether you are worshipping as some say universal god or whatever it is, all those things have to fit into this description only. So that is what is the meaning. Yepi anya devata bhaktaha. Anya devata bhaktaha. That is, in those days also, when at the time of say in the Vedic period also, we have this Nirguna Brahma concept in the Upanishads. But then prior to that, in all these yajnas and whatnot, you have got so many god forms, Indra, Varuna, Vayu, etc., etc., so many forms, all these say cosmic functions which have been visualized as gods, you have been worshipping. So what will happen to that? Okay, it doesn't matter, all those things, Shraddhaya Anvitaha, Yepi Anya Devata Bhaktaha, all those people who are worshipping different god forms, Anya Devata Bhaktaha, Yajante Shraddhaya Anvitaha. Anvitaha means associated with Shraddha. Anvita, they have with Shraddha, associated with Shraddha means having a lot of Shraddha in a highly devout manner. Tepi means te api, though they also, te api, mameva yajante, they worship me only, because all those god forms, they are in me only. Yajante avidhi purvakam. Avidhi means they do not know the real nature, my swarupa, but then they are worshipping some god form. Anyway, even in that ignorance, avidhi, the meaning given by Shankaracharya is, avidhi is ignorance. They don't have the knowledge of my real self, but in ignorance, some form they are worshipping. It is okay. It is okay. So for that, they will get some sort of limited result. It is not as though all that thing will go waste. Their whole Shraddha will not go waste. Their say devotion will not go waste. So that is it. Now this is a sort of a great statement. You see, we have seen some other similar shloka earlier also in the 7th Adhyaya. What is that? Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhaya architumicchati. That is, you worship God in whatever form you want. Say that is tasya tasya achalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. This is another similar statement. Ye pyane devata bhaktah ejante shraddhayanvitaha. You worship any deity in whatever form it is. It comes to only one supreme being. So this sort of, it is a sort of policy statement which we can never find in any other religion. You find in our own say Upanishadic philosophy, in Gita and in our religion. And this is what is responsible for our say attitude in accepting anybody who came to India right from olden days. All the people who came to India, we have accepted them. We never tried to convert them. In fact, on the other hand, they tried to convert us. We never bothered to convert them because we never felt that, we never had that mania. We never had that morbid say compulsion to convert other people. So that is the say basic thing we have to understand, because the Upanishad and also the Gita, they give us such an egalitarian view of the supreme form. You worship God as you go and worship a tree, worship a snake mound, worship some other thing, all are accepted. They are all in different layers of Upanishadic philosophy. In the Upanishadic philosophy, there are so many different layers. In those different layers, you can fit in all those things. So that is what we see here. So what we see here is, there is no rejection of other gods. There is no rejection of worship of other gods. There is only rejection of ajnana. Yajanti avidhi purvakam. Avidhi means ajnana. There is only rejection of ajnana. There is no rejection of other gods as such. So that is what we have to see. And we have also seen earlier the very approach of the Indians. I told several, I think 3 or 4 times I told about Shankaracharya. He is called Shanmata Sthapakacharya. During his time, there were several sects at that time. So usually what happened in other countries did not happen in our country. In other countries, whenever say religion came up, they tried to destroy all other existing religions. So in India it did not happen. In India, the scholars, the Swamijis, they went about, they tried to harmonize everything, and then they wrote say books extolling all god forms. And then they said all god forms, they refer to only one supreme deity. So likewise, they try to harmonize. So that is why we have this Panchayatana system. That is, in every house, we are supposed to worship 5 types of deities. So if you are a worshipper of Vishnu and your wife is a worshipper of Shiva, there should not be any quarrel between you. So that is why you have a Shiva, Vishnu, Aditya, Ambika, Ganesha, all those things are there. So like that, our approach is to harmonize. So that is the thing which we have to understand. And we also have heard one shloka, a very, very famous shloka. What is that? Akashat patitam toyam. Every day in our Sandhya Vandana. As part of Sandhya Vandana, at the end of Sandhya Vandana, we say this shloka also. Akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarvadeva namaskaraha keshavam prati gacchati. So just as every drop of rain which falls on the ground, it moves towards a river, and then from there it moves towards the sea. So likewise, all the worships, all types of worships, Sarvadeva Namaskara, all types of worships, they go to only one supreme deity. So this has been our philosophy. So that is what we have to realize. So is this shloka clear? Yepi anya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhaya anvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. So they are worshipping with ignorance, improper understanding. Let us say avidhi is improper understanding of my real nature. Let us see the bhashyam. Satyam evam. Okay. Ye pyanya devata bhaktaha अन्यासु देवतासु भक्ताः अन्य देवता भक्ताः सन्तः यजन्ते पूजयन्ति Shraddhaya Astikya Buddhya
श्रद्धया आस्तिक्य बुद्ध्या
Anvitaha Anugataha
अन्विताः अनुगताः
Tepi Mameva Kaunteya
तेऽपि मामेव कौन्तेय
Yajanti Avidhipurvakam
यजन्ति अविधिपूर्वकम्
Avidhihi Ajnanam
अविधिः अज्ञानं
Tatpurvakam Ajnanapurvakam
तत्पूर्वकम् अज्ञानपूर्वकम्
Yajante Ityarthaha.
यजन्ते इत्यर्थः.
So in one line it is over. What is it? Anya api devatasu Anya devata bhaktaha. So Anyasu devatasu bhaktaha. We discuss this. Those who worship all other gods, then yajante pujayanti shraddhaya astikya buddhya. Here what is required is that astikya buddhi. Astikya buddhi, we know the word. Asti iti vadati iti astikaha. That is one who says yes, one who says it exists, one who says that the supreme thing exists. He is an astika. There is another meaning of astika also in with reference to, say, in our Indian system. Astika darshana, nastika darshana. Astika darshanas are those which accept the pramana of the Vedas. Pramana means authenticity or authority of the Vedas. So astikya buddhya anvitaha. Anvitaha means associated with that. Anvitaha. But here astikya buddhi is basically believing in some supreme form, believing in some supreme deity. Then anvitaha anugataha, those who are associated with that shraddha. Tepi mameva kaunteya, those he kaunteya, tepi mameva, me only, yajante. Then how? Avidhi purvakam. Avidhi ajnanam. Ajnanam is ignorance, improper understanding of my nature. Tat purvakam ajnana purvakam yajante ityarthaha. They do worship me in a slightly different form. They may not be knowing all the say intricacies of Vedanta, but then they do worship me. They have some shraddha. They also will get some result. Then kasmat te
तस्मात् ते
avidhipurvakam yajante ityuchyate.
अविधिपूर्वकं यजन्ते इत्युच्यते.
Yasmat. Then how is it? Kasmat te avidhipurvakam yajante ityuchyate. How is it that they are worshipping you with some ignorance? How do you say that they are worshipping you only? So then the reply is, because I am the receiver of all these yajnas. I am the receiver of all these namaskaras or all these prayers. That is it. Yajna is a type of prayer only, isn't it? I am the person who receive. I am the recipient of all those prayers. So that is the meaning. Aham kratuhu, aham yajnaha. We have seen earlier also. So that is why the question is, how do you say that they are worshipping you only, though due to ajnana? Because the answer is, because I am the Lord of all these yajnas. I am the person who is the recipient of what all the people offer, what all prayers people offer. So that is the meaning. So kasmat avidhipurvakam yajante ityuchyate yasmat. Okay, let us read the shloka. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijananti tatvena tasyavanti te tatvena tasyavanti te. Tatvena ataha chyavanti. Ataha plus chyavanti becomes ataschyavanti. Sha cha ya. Ataschyavanti. Ataschyavanti te. Okay, here the reply is, because I am the recipient. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. I am he. He means yasmat, because I am the receiver. Sarva yajnanam bhokta. Bhokta means, strictly speaking, enjoyer. So here it means the receiver. You see, for every yajna, all these yajnas, they are all prayers. We offer all those prayers. Then all this Agni is supposed to be the sort of messenger for the gods. Agni is supposed to take, he is called the Hutavahana. Whatever you offer in the fire, he is supposed to carry it to all the gods and then give to the gods. The major share goes to Indra, etc., etc., etc. So, but all these things again are manifest in the Supreme Brahman only. So, when you are worshipping Indra, you are worshipping some small form of that Supreme Brahman only, isn't it? So that way, for all the yajnas, for all the efforts, for all the prayers, I am the receiver of all those prayers. We have to take in that sense, I am the receiver of all those prayers. Bhoktacha, Prabhurevacha, I am the Lord of all those things. Then, Natu mam abhijananti, mam, that is my swarupa, that is my real nature, they do not know. Na abhijananti. Abhijna means identification. Abhijananti means they have not properly identified my real nature. Jananti and abhijananti, there is a difference. Janati means just knowing. Abhigna is recognizing. Abhignana Shakuntalam, we know this word. Abhignana means something is a token of memory. Suppose you give something to your friend or somebody as a token of memory, that is called abhignanam. So this janati and abhijanati, there is a difference. Janati means merely knows. Abhijanati means he remembers, he recalls, recognizes. Nachamam abhijananti means they don't recognize me, they don't recognize my real nature. So that is it. So you are doing some worship, but then you are not exactly going into the nature of that deity. You are not knowing what is the Supreme Being. So without inquiring into the nature of the Supreme Being, they are okay. With Shraddha you are doing every day, all around us we see people who do all types of worships with Shraddha. So that itself is commendable, that itself is worth rewarding. So that is what we are seeing. Natu mam abhijananti tatvena means in reality. Tatvena na abhijananti. They do not know my tattvam. Tattvam is the thisness. Tattvam, isn't it? Tat and tvam does not mean you. Tat plus tvam does not mean that and you. Tattvam means gotvam. So like that. Gotvam, suppose we say. Gotvam means the actual characteristics of the go. That is called gotvam. Go is cow. The cowness, let us say, cowness is called gotvam. So like that, tattvam means the thatness or thisness. That is what is called, that is the tattvam. That is the reality. They do not know my reality. Tattvam is the reality. Ataha chyavanti te. Therefore, ataha means therefore, chyavanti. Chyavanam means they slip off. They slip away. They slip off. That is, they don't get the supreme result. The supreme result is moksha. The supreme result is jnana. So that from that jnana, they just slip away. Tatvena na abhijananti. They don't recognize my real nature. So therefore, they slip off. They slip off or they just slide away. They don't attain me. They just slide away. So that is, they will get some result. It is not as though they are condemned to hell or anything like that. They do get some result. They do go to heaven. They enjoy some time, and then they will be in that cycle of Jnana Marana Chakra, and then that is that. They will never attain moksha. So that is the meaning. So see the Bhashyam. Where is it? Aham hi sarva yajnanam shrautanam smartanam cha sarvesham yajnanam devatatmatvena bhokta cha prabhurevacha. Okay, aham hi is yasmat. Aham, I means that Supreme Brahman. Sarva yajnanam. What are these yajnas? Shrauta yajna and smarta yajna. Shrauta yajna, Shruti and Smruti, we know the difference. Shruti is that revelation, original revelation, and in that original, say Upanishads and say Rigveda, all these Vedas, there are some the Purva Bhaga, the earlier portion of the Veda, there are some yajnas which are prescribed. Then there are some smarta yajnas. Smarta yajna, there may be some adaptation depending on Desha Kala. Shruti is there, always relevant at all places, isn't it? Shruti is Desha Kala Anavachanna, without reference to Desha and time. It is a revelation which is applicable to all places. Then Smruti, it can change. It can change according to time. It can change according to some place. There is a local custom. So that local custom, the Vedic tradition is adapted to that local custom. So that is again called Smarta Karma. In fact, we also know that there is a shloka which says, in Kali Yuga, there was a separate Smruti. Treta Yuga there was a separate Smriti. Dwapara Yuga there was a separate Smriti. Kali Yuga there is a separate Smriti. Have you heard this shloka or not? Krutau tu manava dharmaha. Krutau means in the Kruta Yuga, manava dharmaha. That is Manu Smriti. Manava means relating to Manu. Connected to Manu is manava. Krutau tu manava dharmaha. Tretayam Narada Smriti. Treta Yuga. That Treta Yuga, there is what is called a Narada Smriti. We have got all these Smritis. If you go to some library and see, you have got all these Ashtadasha Smritis. In addition to Ashtadasha Smriti, there are some other Smritis also. Minor Smritis. But major Smritis are Ashtadasha, that is 18 in number. So in different places, in different times, they must have been in currency in different places. So this is Krutautu Manava Dharmaha Tretayam Narada Smriti. Dwapare Shankhalikitau. Dwapare Shankhalikitau. Shankhalikita. Shankhalikita Smriti, there is one Smriti. This Shankha and Likita are supposed to be characters, two brothers who stayed in Kadapa district of Andhra Pradesh. So there is what is called a small river, Bahuda river, in that Kadapa district. So there is a big story also. There is a not big story. There is a small story about that Kadapa district, that river, Bahuda river. These people, they stayed on the bank of this Bahuda river. So there is a Shankhalikita temple also on a nearby hillock near that Bahuda river. So that is the Shankhalikita Smriti is for Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga is till the end of Krishna, Lord Krishna. So that is that Dwapara Yuga. Then Kalau Parashara Smriti. Dwapare Shankhalikitau Kalau Parashara Smriti. In the Kali Yuga, it is the Parashara Smriti, which is to be adopted. So that is, there is one standard tradition. It is a tradition. Then of course there are some other big Smritis. Yajnavalkya Smriti, a very very famous Smriti. On that Yajnavalkya Smriti, there is a huge commentary called Mitatshara Vyakya. Mitatshara. Mitatshara. On Mitatshara there is again very elaborate commentary. And when the Britishers came to our country, they studied this Mitatshara Vyakya and this Yajnavalkya Smriti, and then is it Yajnavalkya or Parashara Smriti? One, let me recall. Is it Parashara Smriti? Anyway, they studied that Mitatshara Vyakya. I am not very sure about this. I will just go back and check anyway. So this Parashara Smriti again, Parashara Smriti, there is a very big Vyakya. Yajnavalkya Smriti, the commentary is Mitatshara. So they studied this Mitatshara, and then they formulated our penal code, criminal procedure code and all these things. So that is the importance of that Mitatshara thing. So they discuss various things, including criminal jurisprudence also. All these Smritis, they include not only Prayaschitta Kanda, also this criminal jurisprudence, what is called Vyavahara Kanda. Vyavahara is a regular transaction, day-to-day transaction. So these were, that is the meaning of Smarta. Smriti changes according to time also. Smartanam cha sarvesham yajnanam devatatmatvena bhokta cha prabhurevacha. Devatatmatvena. I am the Atma of all those devas. Devatatmatvena prabhu. How do you say you are the Prabhu or Bhokta? Because you are the Atma, you are the self of all those things. That means what is that? In that supreme consciousness only, you are visualizing some God form. You take any religion, think of that God. So that God may have a rupam, may not have a shape, but then he is having some functions. He is protecting some people, punishing some other people. All these things are, that structure is there. So all these structures are visualized in that supreme consciousness only. So that is why Devatatmatvena, I am the self. This is the self, or the very core is that supreme consciousness. Atmatvena bhoktacha prabhurevacha. Is the time over? One more, okay. Matswamiko hi yajnaha adhiyajnaha ahamevatra iti yuktam. Iti hi uktam. Okay. Not only that, it has earlier been told Adhiyajnyohamevasmi. Where is it? In the beginning of that 7th Adhyaya, Adhiyajna, Adhidaiva, Adhibhautika, all those Adhibhutam, Adhidaivam, all those definitions have come. We need not go into that. Adhiyajna means I am the very core of that yajna. Whatever say you are doing in the form of yajna, it is my own self that I am manifesting as that as that yajna. So that is what we saw there. Matswamikaha, Matswamiko hi yajna. This yajna is Matswamikaha. I am the Lord of that yajna. Matswamika means that which is having me as a Swami. Is that Matswamikam. Matswamika means that which is having me as a Lord is Matswamikam. This yajna is Matswamikam. That is, all types of yajnas are Matswamikam. Because it has already, I have already told that Adhyajna Hamevasmi Ityuktam. Tatha Natu Mam Abhijananti Tatvena Yathavat. So they do not realize me. Yathavat. Yathavat means as I am. As I am means that is my real nature. Yathavat, my real nature. Atascha Avidhi Purvakam Ishtva Yaga Phalat Chyavanti Pracyavante te. Atascha, therefore, ataha, therefore, avidhi purvakam ishtva. Ishtva means having performed that yajna. Ishti is yajnam. Ishtva, having performed that yajna. Avidhi purvakam ishtva, having performed that yajna in a sort of ignorant manner, without knowing my real nature. Avidhi purvakam. In an ignorant manner, they have worshipped me, but a lot of shraddha. And then Yaga Phalat Chyavanti. Yaga Phalat, from that supreme phalam called moksha, they Chyavanti, Prachyavanti, they slip away. That is, because they worship the delimited forms, they only get some sort of limited result. So that is the meaning. Okay, let's continue next. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.